Hey everyone, Henry Silver here, and this is episode 2 of the build journal for my Torque base build. Today, we're going to go over how to build a stone pathway that hugs the terrain, and at the end, I'll cover how to build a stone roundabout. So let's get to it. To start with, we'll be using frozen planters to make the actual pathway, and I decided a width of 2 planters looked pretty good. Lightboxes made a good glitch point for my planters, and I'll go into why here shortly. I started making 2 rows of light boxes, 1 light panel apart. When placing each light box, I adjusted its angle to match the angle of the ground it was sitting on. I was usually able to string together several more light boxes, but the angle of the ground changes quickly, and once the row started dropping into the ground or rising above it, I stopped snapping boxes on and place a new box using R1 and L1, on PlayStation anyway, to free it from snap points, and then place it back flush with the ground at a new angle and repeat. Take my word for it, you'll do plenty of placing and then deleting just to get the correct angles, but taking the time to make sure your row of light boxes hugs the terrain will give you a smoother pathway. Once I got both rows ran from the furthest Zen garden to the next one in line, I decided to build out the first part to make sure it looked good. Since the frozen planters are 2 light boxes wide, I can go along the rows and delete every other light box. Now, why I chose light boxes for my glitch point has to do with how the planters glitch onto a connection point. They glitch in with the perpendicular, fat, middle orientation. For those of you who haven't watched my Glitch Slapped by Enra series, I'll link it now, but this means that the planters come in perpendicular to the circle of the connection point, they start from the glitch point and go towards the fat end of the lightning bolt, and have the glitch point in the middle of them. Whatever glitch point I set on the surface, there will always be a gap between the planter and the ground since it starts at that point and goes upward. This means I need connection points just under the surface of the ground, but still lined up with each other. Light boxes can snap onto the bottom, under the ground, and give me the connection point I need while retaining the lines I set above ground. Once I get all the light boxes snapped underneath, I then delete all the above ground light boxes and then glitch planters onto each one of the underground boxes. And there we have all the planters glitched in. Now it's time to put in the railings lining the path. We start by placing walls along the pathway, making sure each wall hugs both the ground and the edge of the pathway. I then snap a wall above each, delete the bottom walls, snap 2 small walls downward on each wall, and then an arch onto the bottom small wall to give me railings just like I did with the Zen Gardens. Occasionally, you'll find that an arch red states. To fix this, you have to redo the wall to small wall placement, giving a little more space between the previously placed arch and the wall. It all looks good once it gets all placed, so I keep going, running my lines of light boxes along the terrain between the Zen Gardens. So many light boxes. Once I get them all placed and the planters glitched into place, I start putting in the railings. Here, I run into issues as the ground starts to undulate more. 2 small walls and the arch is too high compared to the previous arch, but 3 small walls and it's too low. You run into this on an uneven ground, and the way to fix it is with a micro jump. For a great tutorial on how to do micro jumps, check out the channel of my friend Kale. I'm linking it on the screen now. For this specific adjustment, I snap a floor onto the bottom of the 2 small walls and stack 3 pavers on the other side. Then I snap a floor onto the top paver and snap 3 small walls down, and then a floor onto the bottom small wall. Move that floor back into place, and you'll see it's now nice and level with the previous arch. I decide that I'd like some nice, unobtrusive lighting on the pathway for nighttime meditation strolls. To get this in place, I simply put pill lights on the leading edge of each arch. The pill light won't block the next arch from placing, and the arch will cover the actual pill light, but we'll still get the glow. Very nice lighting for a pathway in a Zen garden, I'd say. So there we have how to make a pathway out of frozen planters. Now let's cover how to make a roundabout out of frozen planters. It starts with a circle of 16 light floors, glitched onto the outside connector of planters, glitched onto each of the spots at a biodome. You then snap another panel inward, green state a second, and adjacency to a light box. Here, orientation does not matter. Then delete the first panel, green state it back, and adjacency to a light box. Here, orientation does matter. You'll want the line facing towards the center of the circle. You'll know it's right if the light box connector is pointed to the left. You then move this box one more inward and then use total wire control to place a wire on top of the two boxes. You can then delete the inner box, but you need the outer box. Unfortunately, the outer box blocks the next panel over from placing, so I have to move it up one to get it out of the way. Once my circle is done, I realize it's still above the surface of the ground, so I blast away the terrain so I can see what I'm doing, glitch light boxes back onto the interconnectors, and drop each wire down one more light box so that the planters will glitch in slightly sunk into the ground. Once this is done, it's time to glitch in the planters. The ground has returned, but the outer circle is glitched onto the connector of the light box, not the wire, and each has a different orientation, so you just glitch onto each of the points perpendicular to the inner points, not parallel. For the inner circle, however, you need to kind of see the points, so I suggest blowing out the ground if needed. Once you can see the points, it's easier to move around the circle one by one and not miss any. The end result is two concentric circles, but the outer circle is planters connected end to end, while the inner circle is planters connected side to side. I think this gives a good roundabout look, but you tell me. Well, that's going to do it for episode 2 of the Build Journal for my Torque base build. I hope you found this overview helpful, and as always, feel free to drop any questions in the comments. If you liked the video, please hit the thumbs up, and I will talk to you all later.